Hello, everybody, and I hope you all had a great weekend. Um, so we're in video 3 already, and this one was a long one. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. There are going to be some questions that I won't be able to answer today. I missed some of the chapters. I don't always have access to my laptop or to a laptop. I don't even have a laptop, access to a laptop. So sometimes I miss out on some things. So I'm going to answer these questions to the best of my ability, and thank y'all. So the first question was had several questions in it. What is critical theory? And critical theory, according to the book, is, let me find, I wrote notes on this. They described it as a twofold, and by the Frankfurt School of Philosophy in the text, one that knowledge in society is not objective. It is indelibly tied to participants and see. Um, Sorry, I can't read my handwriting. And tainted by their interest in the power structure. To involve yourself in the inner workings of society, reveal the contradictions associated with imbalance of power, and provide a critique that will allow for the reversal of those conditions in the future. So I think like critical theory is basically being able to assess the problem or find something, or like being able to just work within the organization, being able to make it better. In a way, you're using critical theory in order to make things flow better. By using critical theory, we can assess the problem and study alternatives that may be better in the group. Power described as the possibility of imposing one's will upon the behavior of another person. So basically, like one person has more power over the other, and because they have more power over that person, they can make them do whatever they want them to do. And I think that could be a negative thing. Second one, I can never pronounce that, is hegemony, a domination of one group by another, but indicates the process by which one group actively supports um, the the goals and aspirations of another. So I think in this one, it's not so much like power; it's more of like it is. You do have a dominant group, but instead of making them do something they don't want to do, the group supports them in what they want to do, and I think could be more successful in that way. Let's see. A concerted control. A concerted control is based on the adherence to socially constructed norms and values developed by organization members themselves as they attempt to structure their environment and be more strict than a traditional way of organization. Wasn't able to watch the Emma Watson video. Let's see, I'm gonna go to have you ever been in a situation where you did not represent yourself accurately? Um, when applying for an interview or for a job, I have to say that I've never really have represented myself inaccurately. I always try my best to be professional and to make sure that a lot of people that I've interviewed for and that I've worked for always say like I'm always smiling, and that's what they like the most, and that I'm always enthusiastic, very professional about everything. I've never got a negative feedback on anything. All the job interviews that I've ever went on, I've actually always gotten the job. So, and those have been the only jobs I've ever worked. Right now I'm working for a bank, and that's the longest I've ever worked for a company, and I really like it. Let's see. But as far as that, I don't think I've ever, I feel, and there hasn't been any occasion that sticks out to me where I've inaccurately represented myself. I think I've always done a pretty good job at doing that. Have you ever been hired by an organization and they misinterpret, they misrepresented your role in the company? It's always been pretty clear on what my role is in the companies that I've worked for. Um, Maybe there was this one time I worked for a daycare, and the management in general was just terrible. It was just a terrible management to begin with. And I was hired on as like a teacher because it was a daycare school, and we had infants all the way up to 4 year olds. And the owner, she's just a really messy person, and she she would have people, and including myself, we would be told that we are hired to do a certain thing, and then once we got hired on, then she would have us do things that we weren't even hired on for, like be a receptionist in the office, but we got hired on to be a teacher or something else. And she would just flip us everywhere, which way she felt like she wanted us to be that day. And that's something that I felt was very unorganized. And I think that was the cause of a lot of turnover in her company. Let's see. Discuss the reason why applicants may embellish their application materials. I have not had an experience with this. I've never done that, but there's some people who I've known that have tweaked their resume a bit to make it seem better than what it was. And I think people do this because they really need the job. First of all, maybe they really need that position and they know they can do the job. They know that they can be trained. Um, it's just a matter of it looking good on paper. There was this one gentleman who tried to apply for a position within our company, and he was actually a person I know, so I knew why he didn't get hired, and he shared that with me. And he actually had too many um, jobs on his resume, so the company was concerned that if they hired him, he would basically leave the job and would not be there as long because of all the how many times he switched banks. And he was only like a few months here, and then he would switch to another bank, and then a few months there and switch to another bank. And so they didn't really like that too much. So I told him, well, maybe next time you need to tweak your resume a bit and try not to put so many jobs on there so it won't look like you flop around a lot. I mean, I would hope that he is serious about the job and that I know this is something he really needs, and he is very good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. I think he just gets like it's unfortunate. He gets like every time he goes somewhere, he gets a group of set of people or a set of managers that don't work with him. And so I think that's my experience with that. I think people embellish their resumes to make it look better because they need the job, and sometimes things that they'll put on there they may not want others knowing, or oh, I guess if they don't want other people knowing, then they wouldn't put it on there to begin with. But yeah, let's see. What perception would a potential employer have after viewing the results from Googling, searching your name? Have you ever searched your name? How often do you search your name? Is the information accurate? I have never Googled my name before. One, because like I don't think I'd find myself. You know what? There's a lot of Marissa Martinez's out there in the world, and I think it'd be kind of hard to find me, Marissa Martinez, on Google. But I know it is possible. It'll take me probably to my Facebook. It'll probably take me to the Instagram or any kind of social media accounts that I have. And I think if a employer were to Google that, and let's say they found those social media sites under my name, they wouldn't think negative of me. I also make sure that the things that I put on Facebook, they're not crazy. I don't go on rants on Facebook either. I don't post inappropriate things on Instagram. Either way, I always go by the thing. If I wouldn't want like family members to be seeing that, or you know, my grandparents to be seeing that, I wouldn't post it on there. And that's what I do. I don't post inappropriate things on there. So I think I would be okay if they Googled my name. Let's see. Discuss the reasons why a superior might deliberately engage in strategic ambiguity. Discuss why the subordinate might deliberately engage in strategic ambiguity. Please explain in detail both. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, ambiguity is basically like telling somebody what to do, like being like extremely specific in a way. If I'm getting that correct. And I think they might strategically do that so that there will not be any confusion as to what their job is. The superior is clear on what needs to be done, then the subordinate will be able to fulfill that properly. And the same vice versa, if the subordinate knows that they're not able to do certain task or something that the superior is requiring or not requiring or asking of them, they will be clear on that too. Think of an instance where you or your friend may have practiced for a dissertation. Let's see, what roles? So, what role does trust play in the superior subordinate relationship? I think that it plays a big role in that. I think because, like, if your superior doesn't trust you, it's going to be harder for them to refer you to a higher position. It's going to be harder for them to, well, I guess if you, I know from, let's say, speaking on my manager, she has a lot of trust in me. So because of that, she gives me more hours. She is more lenient with me, not to where I'm bending the rules or anything like that, but she just allows me to, she works with me. And I think if she didn't trust me or she felt like I was like two-faced or shady, she wouldn't allow me to do certain things that I am able to do with my job, certain privileges that I'm able to do within my job. We do have a coworker there that she doesn't have trust with, and although she has to give equal treatment to both of us, she doesn't trust her, and she is very skeptical of some things that she does, and that coworker doesn't share anything with our manager, and it does have an effect on their relationship as well. Discuss the role of immediacy in the supervisor's relationship. I think this is really important too because immediacy, what I was reading, is basically getting closer to your subordinate and making them feel comfortable to communicate with you. My manager does a great job of that. She was always asking me about my personal life because I trust her enough to share those kind of things with her. She was asking me about my personal life and she remembers what I tell her. So that makes me feel appreciated. And she always says, "Hey, Marissa, the other day, I remember you told me this and this. How's that going?" And I feel appreciated, like somebody is actually looking out for me and cares for me as an employee. And I think that goes both ways. I also do that with my manager. "Hey, how's it going? How are your kids?" And this, I always ask about her daughter and her son. And I think this gives us more trust, and it gives us more of an open line of communication to where we can communicate properly with each other on a personal level, and then this will also help us communicate on a more serious level. So if I have any problems at work, I will also feel more freely to tell her about those problems instead of just hiding it and being miserable at work. So yeah, so I hope you guys had a great weekend again, and I will see you all next time.